welcome to Amorgasan, and we're here from Alicia Yoga Convention 2019, and I am here with Garth, who came and joined us all the way from Los Angeles. Garth, welcome back. You've been here quite a few times now, is that right?
Yes, this is my third time here. 4 years ago I brought a retreat group here to Amorgos, and we had such an amazing time. And then the first Aegialis convention a couple of years ago, I came and presented. I wasn't able to come last year, but I'm back again for this third convention, and it's just been amazing so far.
And it's so great to have you back, and you're teaching tonight, right?
Yes, I teach in the Namaste Shala, right in this room in about 3 hours.
Yay, so excited for that class. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect.
So I'm going to teach one of my Shiva Power classes. It's a signature class that I teach that is a lot of asana, a lot of options for advanced students, some fun advanced transitions, some advanced poses, and then lots of different modifications, so anybody can really come to the class. I think it's listed on the schedule as a master class, but we're all practicing. There isn't really a mastery, I think, of the practice of yoga. We're all on the journey, and you know, we're all getting out of our comfort zone, and hopefully the growth never stops. So hopefully we never reach a place where it feels too comfortable, and it feels like, I think if it feels like you've mastered it, you've gone off course. You know, you need to get back on the mat and practice it.
And keep humble and just, oh, amazing. And you've mentioned your signature Shiva class. Now, I know that you are the founder of Shiva Yoga. Please tell us a little bit more about it.
Well, I wanted to create a program that allowed students to continue to grow and train throughout their teaching career. So I've continued to do training programs with my different teachers over the past 15 years, and it's really been a huge influence on me to every year or every 2 years to go and do another training program. Most of the styles, most of our modern styles of yoga really stop at maybe 500 hours, or some programs only offer 200 hours. And so I've had to seek out a lot of different training from some really amazing teachers in order to learn some of the more advanced practices, the deeper practices that I wanted to learn. So what I wanted to do was create a program where we could put all of that under one roof, so that I could take all of these different teachings from my teachers and put things under one roof, and not really stop at a 200 hour or a 500 hour, but instead treat that as the foundation, and then offer more programming after that, so that you get the opportunity to just continue to grow. So it really is this never-ending journey of growth.
Learning and opening your mind constantly, and I suppose reminding yourself of certain aspects of the yoga philosophy that we
repetition,
forget. Right?
Repetition is like the mother of all teaching, right?
Yes.
So in many ways, we really get that in an asana practice, where people really understand that they're not going to master, they're not going to really figure out like a warrior pose until they've done it 1,000 times. But it's the same with all the other practices. You're not going to really understand how the pranayama practice, how meditation, really the philosophy, you're not going to understand this unless you continue to, my teacher Dharma would say, contemplate the knowledge you're learning, right? Like over and over again, you've got to revisit these practices, and it's over that time that you gain perspective, that you understand. It's really different if I talk to you about a meditation practice that I've done every day for several years versus a meditation practice that I read about in a book, and I know how to do it, or I was taught it once and I've done it once and now I'm going to show it to you. I mean, we really want to go deeper than that, and we don't want to be regurgitating sort of this surface level information, you know? And that's kind of what I wanted to do with this program, was to create a number of different signature practices, and then have the system so that people can kind of check in and go, oh, I can grow in this program for the next 10, 20 years. And also then, I mean, I've been lucky enough to travel to these different places to study, right? Over to India, to New York to see Dharma. I'm based in Los Angeles, and to travel around, not everybody can do that. Not everybody can go, oh, I'm going to take a month and go study here. I'm going to take a few months and go live in India. So I wanted to sort of, put everything together and make it accessible. Some of my students would sometimes come to me after doing their training program and go, what do I do now? Like, I don't feel like I know everything. I've already done these preliminary programs, but also I can't do what you did over the, I can't go travel to this place. I have a family or whatever obligations. And that sort of inspired me to go, well, what if we could create a few more programs that would allow people to,
continuous learning
yeah,
and stimulation of the mind.
Yes, and also just remind people that you do 200 hours and it's the beginning of your journey, or you do 500 hours and it's the beginning of your journey. It's not the end. We can't take this amount of knowledge and experience of like a PhD program and put it into 1 month. Like it's ridiculous to think we could. So I think that's where yoga's going in the future, is people are going to see, oh, I scratched the surface, I did this program, we've got a huge number of people who are getting into yoga, and I think in the next few years we're going to have a huge number of those people going, okay, I got the first surface level of what I'm doing here, I want more.
I want to go deeper into it. And that's amazing because it's growing in popularity.
It's growing like crazy.
Yes.
It's growing, like I'm teaching literally training programs in all different parts of the world, right? Like, I'm heading to China after this, and it's exploding in Asia. Like yoga in Asia, it's
really?
A few years behind Europe and America, and obviously India, but they are really grabbing on and going, oh man, huge,
really?
Right? I mean, people are so excited about it there. So it's exciting to see. I mean, we have the opportunity with a yoga practice, more so, I think, than anything else we could do in our life. You have the opportunity to affect every aspect of your life off your mat, and all the people you come into contact with. And the more people that are doing this practice, I just think we're going to see a completely different world.
Yes, a big shift in the,
Yeah, huge.
Wow, and since you mentioned travel, and since you've come and visited us a few times, what do you love most about Amorgos Island?
This place is really special. I just posted something on social media to say, like, welcome to Amorgos, and for the people that aren't here, you're really missing. This is a really special, incredible island. The energy here is really special. This particular hotel, the Aegialis, is really special. Like, I really love Irene and her family, and whenever I come here, I feel like family, like they welcome you like you are a member of the family, and that's really wonderful. And then there's something really special about just the island itself. It's hard to get to Amorgos or Amorgos. I think I'm not sure I pronounce it correctly, but it's hard to get here, right? It's one of the islands that you have to take a long ferry ride to get here. And when you look around, like the little villages, like it's untouched, and it feels like you've gone back in time like 100 years.
Right.
And there's something so special about slowing down, about seeing the villages, about seeing the, all the things growing in the fields, and eating things that were growing yesterday, or were picked yesterday, and just there's something amazing about being here. I absolutely love it. Every time I come here, I really think like, oh, I've got to come here for a month and just like book a place or rent an apartment and just stay here for a little.
Do a cleanse, a mental, physical.
Yes, just to like not even bring any students, just to
yes.
be here by myself and just soak up this beautiful energy. Yeah, it's amazing here.
Oh, we're so glad to have you here. And just a couple more questions. Aegialis Yoga Convention, why do you return? And what is it about Aegialis that you love?
I think this is a really unique experience. I teach at a few other festivals around the world, and what I think is very unique about this is it is kind of halfway between a yoga festival, because there's a lot of teachers and students here from all over. And it's halfway between a yoga retreat, because it's small enough that it's very intimate and you connect with everybody, and it feels like a big yoga retreat as opposed to a huge festival where maybe you're not necessarily going to connect with as many new friends, you're not going to interact with as many people that you don't already know, and you're not going to be eating dinner or breakfast with all the teachers that you just practice with. And so it really is this very intimate experience for a yoga convention, which makes it very unique and kind of beautiful. I remember coming to the first one thinking, I wonder what this is going to be like. Like I have no idea what this will be like, and it was so special. and just the way everybody just so bonded as a community. It was incredible. I would have come last year as well. I had a family obligation that I couldn't come, but I just loved it. Like after that first experience, I was like, what an amazing experience and just an amazing concept. Not quite this sort of huge yoga festival environment, not quite a yoga retreat, somewhere in between.
In between.
Yeah, it's a great...
And I suppose being in Amorgos Island is just, amazing. The nature, like you were saying, is just untouched. It's pure. We've got the mountain, we've got the sea, and being in Aegialis, I guess the luxury and the beautiful shallows, right?
Well, the Aegialis is a 5-star hotel. So you have the luxury of this sort of incredible experience staying in a place that's obviously got 5 stars, but you're also, you look out and it's these little villages around us, right? And the mountains, and it's so open. And I think when I was here 2 years ago, they said there's only 2,000 people on the island.
1,800 actually.
Yeah, there's hardly any people here, and it's not overcrowded with tourism, which is great. Like, don't air this part because maybe we don't want people to know that and ruin the experience. People were talking about that last night at dinner, about how some of the other islands used to be like this and they're now just overcrowded and they've become sort of tourist havens, and you miss that special experience, It feels a little bit
the simplicity of it, and it's not yet.
It's lost something by just the fact that it's become very common and there's thousands of people sort of there, that you miss that specialness of this place.
Thank you so much for your time, Garth. We really appreciate having you here and doing this interview for us all. And one last question. What advice do you have for anybody who wants to start yoga or to grow more in their practice?
I think just starting. It's really hard to start anything. So the first few times you come are going to be the most challenging, because everything is going to be new. You're going to feel very insecure because you're going to think everybody else knows what they're doing. And I think the big thing to remember is that when you come to class in the beginning, you're going to be very self-conscious. You're going to be thinking that everybody is watching me or judging me. And you realize after you've practiced for a while that nobody's watching you. They're focused on their own practice. Nobody's judging you. We're all trying to move beyond that place of where the ego is sitting in judgment on ourselves and others. So for real beginners, it's just come and try it. And I always say to people that ask me, there's so many different styles of yoga. There's so many different paths. Go to like 10 different classes, studios, teachers, like try a whole bunch, and something will speak to you. Something will resonate with you. And so don't go to a class, like maybe you come to my class and I don't speak to the person, right? There's another type of yoga that might be perfect for you. So try a bunch of different experiences, because the practice itself is profound and it will change your life. So if you find that class that you're like, wow, I really like this, or I really like this teacher, this speaks to me, give it a shot and see what happens. And then what all the great teachers say is, be consistent, be persistent. It's not going to be easy. You got to show up even when you don't want to show up, right? And you've got to be patient. So you've got to come, you've got to give it time, and you'll see some incredible results from the practice. But just check your ego at the door, and have some fun. Like, come in with the intention of what can I learn? And then people that are looking to go deeper, for someone that's already practiced for quite a while, we have to be careful that the ego doesn't jump back in or slip back in where we feel like, oh yeah, I got this figured out. Because there's so much to learn, and that's one of the little tricks that yoga philosophy tells us. You have to watch as you get farther down your path, you gain some knowledge, right? You feel like you figured some stuff out, and then it gets harder for you to drop that ego, or to let your ego dissolve into the background and have that deeper experience, because the ego is all fired up like, I have figured things out, right? Like, I know what I'm doing, right? And one of our master teachers, Krishnamacharya, used to say, send me the beginners and send me the students who have a really evolved practice, because they both know that they don't know anything.
Yeah.
The people in the middle are unteachable because they think they know everything. And that's, you know, that kind of says it all, right? Like, hopefully we never reach that place, but if you feel yourself getting there, you've got to get back to those humble roots of, I got to be open to figure out new stuff. What do I not know? As opposed to, I know this.
Well, why do I need to feel like I tell myself that I know this? And
Right. Yeah, it's like, find that place of humility where you're being open. You're open to new experiences, open to, you know, what else can I learn? I think it's been wonderful for me to, like, one of the things that we talk about in yoga a lot is find one teacher and, you know, stick with them. And there's a lot to be said for that. Like, my teachers I've had for several years, that's been my teacher. But sometimes it's also wonderful, after you've been walking down that path for a while, to maybe check out another path, you know, jump on another path and explore with another teacher and be open to something completely different. It gets confusing if you try to go to a number of different teachers at the same time, so I wouldn't recommend that. But also, don't get into that narrow-minded focus of, oh, I'm this type of yoga practitioner, this is the right way.
I only go to this specific class, this specific teacher. Keep an open mind.
Or even if you do, you want to understand that there's many roads, many paths, all taking you to the same destination. So oftentimes you'll see students or teachers from another lineage walking another path, and they're just taking a different way to go to the same place. And I sometimes see that in our yoga community, where people are very rigid and narrow in their you know, judgment of, this is the right way to do this particular practice. And it might not be. There might be a number of different ways to do that practice. That's just the way that your teacher taught you, you know. And that's when we see that ego come to the front of, you know, this is the only way. And it really isn't, you know. It's kind of silly to think that.
So we just must be open to always learn, and to just keep humble, and just, you know, try to control our ego, that little voice that will always tell us, you know everything. Thank you so much again, Garth. You have so much amazing knowledge, and it's been a pleasure to speak with you. And if you want to follow Garth on social media...
Instagram is at Yogi Garth, YOGIGARTH, and my page on Facebook is Garth Hewitt Yoga.
Thank you, everyone, and make sure you follow Alicia too on Instagram.